Welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we are doing my March wrap-up. So, I said I was going to try really hard to do 2 wrap-ups like I had been doing for most of last year. Unfortunately, I only read 1 physical book this month. So because of that, I decided to do 1 wrap-up of audiobooks and the physical book because there was only 1 to talk about. I like to read at least 3 before I do a separate wrap-up. So, unfortunately, with a combination of things that were happening, obviously with our shelter-in-place order and just the world being kind of crazy, and also just regular busy stuff, I was not able to read very much this month. I let the first part of the month, I was focused on audiobookathon, so I was like listening to audiobooks before I went to bed and things like that. And then I also let the stress of things that were happening around me really kind of like get me down to the point to where I wasn't able to like focus on books as well as I was able to listen to things. So the listening distracted me more, and so that's what I went with for the first half of the month. I did get through like 200 or 300 pages of A Court of Mist and Fury, so that was good. It's just like a 600-page book, so I didn't finish it in time. So the only book that I physically read this month was The Jewel by Amy Ewing. So I decided to pick this up because my friend Claire and I have been talking a lot more. We usually have like monthly or bi-monthly coffee talks and book talks, and since we weren't able to do that, I was like calling her and stuff, and she had read this one and was starting the second one, and she said she enjoyed it and thought it was fun, and I was like, you know what, it might inspire me to do like a buddy read, and I can read this and kind of talk to her about it, and I'm so glad I made that decision because I actually wound up loving this book. I read it in like 3 days, and I haven't read a book that fast since like October. I just was so into it. I was attached to all the characters. I thought everything was great. So first I want to tell you what it's about. So this is a dystopian trilogy. We're set in a world where royalty are not able to have children, and so because of that, they like raise kind of and train girls from like poorer areas to become surrogates for the royalty, and then they have like an auction, and the royalty will purchase these surrogates, and then they have babies for them. Something I didn't know about this book is that the girls actually have these powers, like they're called auguries, and they have the ability to like change colors of things and also make things like grow, and like they're like little abilities and things like that. So that part made it really awesome for me because it was very different than the other dystopian books I've read. It really gave me like Selection, Hunger Games, Handmaid's Tale type of vibes. I really liked it because you've got like the girls and they're getting trained and they're like going to parties and wearing fancy dresses and stuff, but then they're also like servants and slaves, and they like have to be like pregnant for the royalty, and you're learning about all the politics. Then they also learn about their friendships, and you learn about like under things that are happening, and then there's also a romance in here, and there were so many elements and different characters and different plot lines and different storylines. I just found it so well done, so interesting. It is not like the best book that was ever written, but for the pure enjoyment factor and all of the different elements and how different it was from the other dystopians I've read, I gave it 5 stars. It's definitely not out of 5-star level of some of my other things, but I loved it. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it really distracted my brain, and that's exactly what I needed, and it was so fun to talk to my friend Claire about it. So I'm already 100 and something pages into the next book because I read this at the very last like week of the month, but loving it. So glad I picked it up. Yay, probably a new favorite trilogy. I hope that I like the next 2 as much, and I'm just really glad that I'm knocking this book off of my TBR because it's been on there for a long time. So I had audiobookathon for the first half of the month. I am so sorry I have not got my vlog out. I was doing really good vlogging and editing my vlog, and then all this stuff went down like right in the middle of it, and I was just so stressed, and I didn't want to film my like bad mood because I want this channel to be a positive place. And yes, there's bad stuff happening on, and yes, not every day is perfect, and that's whatever. But I come to YouTube, and I want you guys to come to YouTube for a place to like rest and release and have some positivity in your life and to just get away from things. So I did let some stress and things get in the way, but I'm doing much better now. I have trained my brain, and I have like gotten off Facebook and just focused on the things that I can control in my life, and it has made a huge difference. So because of that, my audiobookathon vlog is not out yet, but I'm almost done editing it. I also just am really bad at editing vlogs. It just is not fun for me. I like filming them, I like doing them, but I don't like editing them just because I ramble, and they're so long, and I want them to be good, and it just takes forever. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the books that I read there. So spoilers for my audiobookathon vlog, but hopefully you'll still find it interesting. So I read the entire trilogy of Sleeping Giants, Waking Gods, and Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. And I freaking loved it. I loved it so much. All of them are 5 stars. They all kind of blurred together to me because I binge read them like in a week. I listened to all of these. Unfortunately for this one, it was really hard for me to find all the narrators' names because it was a full cast, so I didn't list them down below, but they were all fantastic. And so this is kind of has Illuminae vibes. This is a sci-fi story. What happens is a girl falls into a hole, and they actually, when they come to find her, they find that she's actually inside of like a metal hand, and everyone's like freaking out because they don't know where this metal hand appeared from. And so you're following the course over like 17 years, I think, of scientists and things trying to figure out this hand and where it came from. And the girl that originally fell into the hand has grown up and become like a forensic scientist type lady. And so she is actually getting interviewed in like the future about this hand and things that have happened after it. And so basically this entire book is told through interviews. So unlike Illuminae, there are no like images or cool graphics or anything like that. So you do not need to read and listen to this book, in my opinion. I personally think that they were made for audiobook because it has a full cast, and you do get like sound effects, and then there's like screams and like all kinds of things that just totally just suck you in, and you don't really need to read it while you listen to it like I would suggest for Illuminae, because the visuals of the book are so stunning as well. I loved it so much. It was so incredible. I was so in love with the characters. The science behind everything was great. The explanations for things were wonderful. I think these are adult books, but in my opinion, they're like perfect for YA. And just the attachments of the characters and what's happening, the whole plotline of the stories were so good. The last half of me reading the last book was right when all of the like kind of like lockdown stuff was happening. And so this is technically like, it's not about a pandemic, but things are happening that kind of like change the world, and kind of everybody's like panicking. That part kind of stressed me out because it is a very stressful audiobook because it's just like high action, high paced. They're only like 6 to 8 hours, so you can listen to them very fast, especially if you speed up the speed. It was very stressful, but it was also like really distracting in like the best way possible. I'm gonna listen to these over and over again. I just loved them so much. They were heartbreaking, they were wonderful, they were heartwarming, they were great. If you like sci-fi at all, I highly suggest these. Just the fact that it's told entirely in interviews was really impressive to me. So great, so all of them were 5 stars, yay. Then also for Audiobookathon, I listened to The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo, because this was just a short book that I could get in really quickly, and it was like a 4-hour audiobook, so it took me like 2.5 hours to listen to. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I read it several years ago, like a decade ago. It's a middle grade book, and it's about a little mouse, and he falls in love with a princess, and he has to fight rats with a needle sword. It's just so great. It's so charming. It's so wonderful. This is going to be a classic in my opinion. This one is narrated by Graham Malcolm, and I love him. He does great. I want to listen to other things by him. He's got that just a great British accent, kind of reminiscent of like Neil Gaiman. It's really great. It's a really nice one to kind of slip in. Your kids will really like it. It's very sweet and heartbreaking and heartwarming as well. It was a good one to throw in, so still 5 stars. Then, controversial, I listened to Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire at the last half of the Audiobookathon, because it was also a short audiobook. It's like 4.5 hours. So this is about kids that go to like Narnia and Wonderland and I don't know, different worlds and the upside down, and then they come back into the real world, and basically they have PTSD from experiencing all this magical situations and knowing that there's another world out there, and then they're not in it anymore for whatever reason. And so this woman has a school where she brings everybody in and kind of like helps them cope and get over things and also learn about different worlds. So there's like a darker world, and then there's like the world of the dead, and then all just kinds of different kinds of really interesting worlds. The plot and all of the different types of worlds and characters and all of the different things were fantastic. There's like a murder mystery that happens in the school that you're kind of solving. It really wraps up nicely for such a short book, I think. However, I felt like it was very depressing. I really like Seanan McGuire's writing style, but I felt like this one, because all the kids are like depressed from not being in their worlds anymore, not sure if they're going to be able to go back, and then they're all interacting with each other. I didn't love it. Maybe it was because of the timing of everything, because I was feeling kind of like sad and anxious anyway, but I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on with the series. Let me know if you guys like the other books better. I did really like the concept and everything. I just felt like it was like, I don't know, there just wasn't enough in it to kind of like grip me to want to carry on. Like the mood was so somber that I don't know. I didn't love it, so it was like a 3-star for me. It's a very well written book. I love Sean McGuire's Into the Drowning Deep, and I have read like depressing type books before and enjoyed them. That sounds weird, but this one, it could have just been the timing, but I didn't love it. So then after Audiobookathon, I started and finished, yay, The Couldve Nothing by Holly Black. And guess what, guys? I loved it. 5 stars. I loved it so much. So this one is narrated by Caitlin Kelly, who does a fabulous job. I've only listened to her narrate this trilogy, but I want to listen to more from her. So this is book 3 in the Cruel Prince series. So this series was wonderful because the first book, I just did not understand the hype. I liked it and I thought it was great. I think I gave it like 3.5, maybe 4 stars, but I didn't love it and become completely obsessed with it like everyone else. Then I read The Wicked King and I was like, okay, this is more my jam. I liked the way the romance went and the politics and all that kind of stuff, and it was great. And then I read this one and I was just like, oh my god, favorite. Oh, I loved it. I loved it so much. I thought that how much story she packed in here. I mean, this book is only like 290 pages, and how much she packed in here and how wrapped up everything felt, very like nicely wrapped up, and where the characters were left off and everything that happened. There were battles, there was romance, there were sister bonds and family bonds and family fights, and oh, it was just so good. I loved it. I haven't heard a lot of other people talk about it, so I don't know if they like it quite as much as I do, but I'm really glad I can keep all the beautiful books now because they're beautiful and I really liked them. And I'm so happy that I finally got to this. I'm really sad I put it off for so long, but yay, another series wrapped up. Then lastly, I actually finished this on the 2nd, but since I'm filming this, I decided to throw it in here. So I read Otherworld by Jason Segel and Kirsten Miller finally, and this is narrated by Jason Segel, who I know from How I Met Your Mother, and some of you know from Forgetting Sarah Marshall and other things as well. I was really impressed with this. The first probably like 2 hours, which would be like the first like 60 pages or so, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, because our main character is very unlikable. And I just wasn't sure where the book was going. But then it really picks up speed and sucks you in, and you spend a lot of your time in this virtual reality world. So this is about a virtual reality that is so real that you can taste and smell and touch and see and all of that stuff. And there is a corporation that's kind of leading it. And there's this whole mystery and this whole action-adventure plot behind this. And I really, 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 really liked it. I thought it was very well done. I was very impressed with Jason Segel's writing ability and world building and all that kind of stuff. I loved being in the virtual reality world for the majority of the book, learning about the characters and the creatures and just all kinds of things that were happening. So I found this super fun. It was really fast paced. It was a good solid 4-star read for me. And I am excited to continue on to book 2 next month. So I read 1 physical book and 7 audiobooks, which I think was pretty good overall. Not quite as good as I wanted, considering that the Audiobookathon was this month. I wanted to like plow through a bunch more things. That's okay though. So anyway, next month, hopefully I will have 2 separate videos for you guys. Let me know how your wrap up month for March went. Let me know if you guys are reading anything fun for April. I posted my April TBR video just a few days ago, so I'll link that up here in the cards. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope this brightens your day and gives you a little bit of positivity. I hope you guys are reading and just doing things to keep your mind active and healthy and kind of reduce that stress level. And I'll see you guys next time on the bright side. Bye! Excited to continue. So this one is narrated by, let's see who narrates it. I think it's Caitlin Kelly.